Hello, this is Maritza Nadia, and in this video we are going to learn how to measure events on Google Analytics 4. The first thing that we must know is what is an event. When we are working with events, we are measuring actions that the user undertake that is measured through tracking codes and sends information to Google Analytics 4. This means that from all the different kind of interaction that people can do in a website, such as scrolling, such as clicking, such as watching videos, such as downloading content or searching for queries in the internal searches, from all the different kind of things that people can do in a website, if we are tracking through a tracking code those interactions, they are going to send information to Google Analytics. But if we are not tracking those interactions, we are not going to measure those actions. So they are not going to be events. Only those actions that we are tracking are going to be considered events and are going to be tracked by Google Analytics. And in this regard, we can have different kind of events. We can have default events, which are automatic collected events that Google Analytics always track, such as session start or first visit or scroll or clicks. And on the other hand, we have custom events that we need to generate on our own. And in this regard, for generating custom events that are those events that we manually want to track, we have to do this by two different options. The first option is programmed them manually, and the second option is using something that is called Google Tag Manager, which is an application that allows us to generate those events without properly programming. Apart from this, we are going to dive into the report of the events, which is always in the report of interactions, okay? Because we are going to have a look to how people are interacting and are using different kind of events, are undertaking different kind of actions within our website. In order to do so, we need to click on this section, which is the report of events. And the first thing that we are going to see is the list of all the events that has been generated in a custom or just in a automatic collected way. Okay, so we have the name of all the events that are being started in this website, and then we can have different kind of metrics in order to measure those events. For example, the number of events that is called in English event count, okay, that are one of the main metrics. Then we can have, for example, events per session, we can have events per user, or even the number of incomes that we can have per every single event if we have determined these events as a purchase or something that has the parameter of one specific economic value, okay? Once we have a look to those events and we personalize those metrics, we can click in every single event in order to have a specific report for those events. Imagine that we are having a look to scroll and that we have set this specific event as people that scroll up to 90% of the full page. So they are going to count 90% of this scrolling. If people do not land in this 90%, this is not going to generate any event of scrolling. If they just go until from here until here, this is not going to generate this event. But if they go at least until here, which is approximately 90% of the full page, they are going to count as a scroll, okay? Once we click in this, we can select the different kind of events here, but for example, the scroll, we have the event count, we have the number of users that has done those events, and the average number of events per user, or even the value of the events. If we have set a parameter of these events, that is, when people do these events, we consider that we are gaining 20 euros, this is going to be counted here. And this is especially used for events related to purchases and e-commerces. Okay, apart from this, we need to know that all the events can have different kind of parameters, okay? Parameters are characteristic of those events, are just different kind of things that we can determine for every single event. For example, For the event scroll, we have these different kind of parameters. One parameters can be the session ID of people that have undertaken this event. Another can be, I don't know, campaign, which is the specific traffic acquisition source, in this case, organic searches, that is devoted to this event. So where people before going to this event and undertaking this event, and in this regard, 100% of the people that undertake the scroll until, in this case, 90% of the page were coming from organic searches, okay? So we can have different kind of values here. For example, if we focus in another events that is checkout, okay, that people are finishing a purchase, we can even have a look to the value of this event, which is a parameter. If we go to the overview, the snapshot, we are going to find this card, which is devoted to key events, okay? In here, we can know those events that this specific website has determined as conversion. For example, view some items, for example, adding to the cart, purchasing, or doing different kind of things. Those key events as conversions, if we click on them, as we have done previously, are going to allow us to go to a detailed specific event report in order to have more information about this specific one. For example, from the event of purchases, we know different kind of dimensions. This dimension is the channel from which the channel acquisition of traffic from which this event has been generated. For example, all the purchases that we have here, which is a key event, has been done by directly going to the website, or especially by organic search traffic, okay? Or even referral traffic. We have the different kind of channels, acquisition of traffic, in order to know those events. And we can also include secondary dimension, as we normally know, such as the city or the country from which those people are coming, in every single of these acquisition channels of traffic. If we go back to the events report and we click, for example, if one of the main events, which is session start of our page view that are created by default, we are going to have a specific snapshot or overview with different kind of cards related to this event. So we can know that for the page view, the number of visits that our pages has had, we have this number of events of page views. So this number of views on our website per this selected period of time, the total number of users that has done those page views, the number of events per user, gender or sex, country. Well, we can have a lot of information about this specific event's performance. So this is going to allow us to improve the engagement of our content if we are able to track which pages has more problems in order to generate these events, or how can we really optimize those events in order to generate more and more engagement. Thank you so much.